You must be careful about the words you use, or the words you allow to be used in your house. Words are things. You must be careful. Careful about calling people out of their names, using racial pejoratives and sexual pejoratives and all that ignorance. Don't do that.
It's time to talk about it.
Pull up a chair and take a seat.
We're serving up recipes for life.
With Hampton University's Dr. Richard Mason and Dr. Tamara Williams.
Welcome to the Sunday Brunch.
This is Dr. Tamara Williams.
And this is Dr. Richard Mason, and welcome to another edition of Sunday Brunch with the Good Doctors.
The Good Doctors.
How's it going?
It is going well, bro. It is going so well. It's nice outside. It's summertime. The birds are chirping in the morning. I'm waking up a little bit at my leisure, so I'm enjoying a few moments, just a little bit.
Listen, I'm glad to be in the land of the living, but when those birds start making that noise in the morning, I'm like, wait a minute,
who
set your alarm clock? You know? I'm not as much of a morning person, you know.
Yeah.
You know, y'all know my wife is up first thing in the morning. You know,
I'm a morning person.
She get up with the chickens and go to bed with the chickens. You know,
and I go to bed early.
Yeah, and see, I can be up all night. That's when I can sit and get some work done, my reading and everything else or whatever. But I'm not that much of a morning person.
We're twins, but we're not all the same.
No.
Yeah, we got some differences.
Called balance, just a little balance. That's it. So
we got a couple of things, but I'm glad you're doing well.
Yes, I am. I'm doing pretty good for the summer. You know, I'm not when it comes to just being out and about during the summer, that heat can be so disrespectful. But give me a beach and some sand, I'm okay with the sun in the summer and the heat, you know?
It's location that makes a difference?
Yes,
okay.
Location.
Imperfect.
Exactly, you know? But when I tell you, and it's one of those things, I enjoy the summertime, but that heat can be miserable when you just have to run out to a meeting, run out to grab something to eat, and you come back and you're drenched, you know? I need a shower, you know? Let me just grab a washcloth, clean my face up or something, you know? So,
you're sweating. The temperature changes.
Yeah, exactly.
It does something to our bodies too. So I'm glad that we're having this conversation today.
Yes.
I'm glad we've invited back to the table our resident doctor, our Dr. Jemecia Braxton.
Yes.
And so we have her here with us today. She's going to be telling us some of the things that we need to have a conversation about at the table, about things we need to do in order to make sure that we're not just surviving through the summer, but we're thriving through the summer.
Exactly.
That we're making it through the summer and we're doing well in a healthy manner.
Exactly.
Because it's different. Like, I don't eat as heavy during the summer.
Right.
As I do during the winter. I don't. It's not that I'm a bear or anything, but I'm just saying I don't. I don't tend to eat as heavy during the summers and I don't know what it is. I don't need as much, or I'm moving differently. But I'm sure she's going to talk to us about a lot of that.
Well, while she gets started, I'm going to go ahead and hit the buffet line.
Okay, get the plate, bro.
I'm still going to eat, all right? I just hope they don't have them coleslaw pops up there. So.
Ew, for sure.
Just nasty. But anyway, all right, I'm going to move along.
Welcome to the show, Dr. Braxton. Welcome to the show, Dr. J.
How are you?
All is well.
Thank you so much for having me.
You know you are always welcome.
Thank you.
To Sunday Brunch. And people out there always need good health tips.
Absolutely. Yes, they do, especially in the summertime. So that's why I'm excited about the conversation and happy that you invited me to talk about it today.
Let's start with one thing. What is one thing that people need to know about how to survive and thrive during the summer?
I'll say sunscreen. Sun protection against the sun.
Now, that is a conversation because in the African American community, we don't buy sunscreen. They don't tend to market it towards us.
Right.
They don't,
Because sunscreen, I remember growing up, sunscreen to me, I always saw people, putting on what we know to be tanning lotion. Okay, didn't realize that as I got older. Oh, you need some sunscreen. We tended to use Avon or something that my mama had. Skin so soft. That was the thing for everything. You know what I mean? But I always felt like I was a piece of fried chicken, in that summertime in that heat. But
that your skin couldn't breathe through some of that protection. It made me look tainted like a warped color. But they have other products out now. But that's a good thing. I'm glad you started with that conversation, that we can't just all just be in the sun and think that that's just going to be okay.
No,
and
we
I
can't.
love the beach.
And we need the sun, most definitely. We need the sun for vitamin D to be activated within our systems. But honestly, the sun itself can be really, really harsh and really damaging to the skin. And we think because we're melanated people that we're protected because of our melanin, and that's just not the case. We're finding more and more African American people having skin cancer and trouble with being exposed to the sun. So we need to make sure we're doing at least some SPF above 50 while we're out, especially when we go on these cruises that we love to go on, and we love to be sitting out on the deck all day, like we're, we are relaxing, but that direct sun with nothing on is very damaging. Not only is it damaging to the skin, it dehydrates you. So we'll talk about just the sun protection. Make sure you're wearing a hat. Make sure you're wearing breathable clothing. Make sure you are putting on sunscreen. And if you're starting to feel like you're, a little bit depleted, just kind of get in a cooler area. Yeah, to protect your sun.
And if you're on a cruise, get the drink package, right? Is it-
well, listen, yes, definitely. If you're on a cruise, get the drink package, right? Definitely get the drink package. However,
You better drink some water.
let's roll into the next tip.
Yes,
let's roll into hydration since you're talking about
Plenty of
the
water.
drink
Plenty of
Yourself
package.
hydrated.
As I drink water right now.
You definitely want to stay hydrated in this heat. And I was going to try to leave that for the last tip, but I'll roll back around to it. But since you brought it up, drink package, you definitely want to make sure that if you are having alcoholic beverages, if you are having a lot of teas, sweet tea, we like that. We like that at the picnic. We like those drinks that are very caffeinated. We have to watch our water. Because those are dehydrating. They dehydrate
Sodas
you.
and those type of things.
Sodas, teas, alcohol. You want to make sure you're getting a lot of water in, even more water, because you have to combat the amount of caffeine and alcohol that you've taken in. So that's important, especially as we get older.
Well, see, I drink my water and I flavor my water. I went and put some drops in my water, and this is, my
It
little
looks
Neo.
tainted.
It just
Y'all should see this. Y'all should see how I'm looking at him.
Like Flint water. That's all I'm saying.
Dr. B talk about my bacon, then she talk about my water.
Oh my goodness, y'all. Let me just say this. Sometimes people have an issue with water. They have an issue with the taste of water. They have an issue with getting water in. Get in where you fit in, however.
Yeah, she always starting, y'all. That's all I'm saying.
However, if you can stay away from the crystal lights and the artificial sweeteners and all of those things, try to stay away from it, especially if you're a woman. Yeah, and I
Tell
say that
them why,
because I'm up
Yeah.
too. Because we have a gene that expresses and we can develop cancers from that. So we just want to make sure that we're being healthy. And sometimes if you find the water that you're drinking that you don't like it, try another water. Try something else.
Maybe even sparkling water. Is that bad? for
Sparkling water is just as good as regular water. Just regular water. However, spring water that actually comes from the source is excellent water. Volcanic water is good. Smart water is good. So just maybe it's a taste thing for you.
It is. It's just so bland, and I stay away from the carbonated stuff. So I've done a step down. So I drink the water, but I add a little meat, and I don't do the Crystal Light. I leave that alone. I was told leave the Crystal Light alone. I was told Mio is the better of the
evils.
Yes,
Okay.
exactly. So that's why I
I'm
went
not
with the
getting on your
Mio.
case.
Yeah, she is.
I see.
Listen. In a minute, she gonna tell me don't eat bacon in the summer. But
Wait a minute. I was going to ask her about the salt intake that happens in the summer, because I'm thinking that also dehydrates you. Like there may be certain things that you might eat that can increase that as well. Is that true? Maybe not.
Yes and no, because of course table salt, not good. However, you definitely want you want salt, you want sodium. The body thrives, and your organs are needing sodium. So if you find that you are getting dehydrated, you find like you're in a situation where you're starting to feel the effects of dehydration, and you drink just water, that's not going to be enough. You're going to need some source of sodium, some source of potassium, some magnesium, something like that. So I would recommend
Charlie horses and those cramps.
Yep. I would recommend pink Himalayan salt.
Okay.
Redmond salt, kosher salt, just salts that replenish, that help you replenish, not table salt.
Now let me ask you this, because I was having a conversation with a colleague, and they were just talking in terms of that their son had caught a cramp. We were kind of heading out, and they were getting out. I was like, I'm waiting on him to get out the car. He caught a cramp, and all or whatever, and it made me start thinking about the fact that during the summer, you're going to catch it because you're basically becoming a little more dehydrated.
You're sweating
and all
more.
as well. And I remember, as a kid, playing football, doing sports and stuff like that or whatever, having to either have a salt tablet. I remember the trainer would give you salt tablets sometimes when you catch a cramp, or they would tell you drink pickle juice or mustard. Eat a spoonful of mustard or something like that or whatever.
Yeah.
And so when I mentioned it to her, I said, "Oh, he may just give him some pickle juice." She said, "What?" I said, "Pickle juice." And I was explaining that to her. Tell me a little bit. How does that really work?
It's the
Or should I say,
sodium,
why
the
it works?
potassium,
Okay.
the level of vitamins, minerals, all that's in it. So that's exactly right. You can get some
Okay.
pickle juice, some mustard, some a banana, but honestly, the mustard packets and the pickle juice work quicker.
And that's what I told her. I said, I know it works quick, but I didn't know the
It's not
science
something.
never
behind
heard
it.
about
It's
the
not.
mustard.
Look, it's not something you. Definitely. If you're prone to a lot of Charlie horses and cramps, just get some from your local. When you go get your hamburger or your hot dog or whatever, grab some extra mustard to keep in your purse or your pocket. But some people are prone to them, and it just
that
means that your
people who
body is
are not-
depleted from sodium, potassium, or some type of magnesium or phosphorus or something
You're
like
not
that.
drinking enough water, maybe, or it could be.
It could be water too, but most likely it's one of those elements.
And so that kind of replenishes it real quick.
Real
Just kinda-
quick.
Just get it right back. Because I told her, I said, I know we did it, but in terms of just understanding why it worked, in terms of the science.
At that time, you were like, "Give me that. I'm hurt."
Just give it to me.
Exactly.
Thank you, Jesus. It worked. That's all.
That's it.
Yeah, so we have sodium and calcium chains that go in and out of the cell. You guys remember that from biology and all that good stuff. But that's exactly why. Because
Okay.
it's your body's in need of it, your muscles are in need of it. And
So
it's
those who
it's
are
quick-
exercising and doing a lot of exercising during the summer, they have to be more cautious and aware of those changes.
Right, and so that's another health tip for the summer, exercise health, because
Okay.
when we're working out in the winter, it's a whole lot different from the summer. In the summertime, we're sweating much more. We're losing much more water. So you're not going to have the same amount of water intake that you would in the winter that you need in the summer because you're sweating more. Your body's being more depleted. So when you're out here exercising, I don't know, you guys probably see it often around Hampton University. These kids are out here running in 100 degrees, or you have somebody out here walking in 100 degrees. They're going to need much more water. As a matter of fact, they need the water prior to working out, maybe even a day prior to working out like that, because you're going to lose a lot of water when you work out in the heat. So
And some
when
of these
you're
kids out here just wearing
exercising,
these hoodies out here. They,
Ooh, Father.
in
yeah,
100
trying to
degree
sweat,
weather.
trying to get that quick water off the body, and
These kids are
it's a
wearing
little
these
dangerous.
hoodies
All year round.
all year round.
are.
And I'm thinking, it is 98 degrees outside. Why do you have on a hoodie?
Yeah.
I'm going to do a study on that. I think that's a mental health issue.
I don't
It's
think
probably
a
just a
mental-
fashion
it's-
thing.
Yeah.
It's probably just a fashion thing they're
Generation
going
type of
through.
thing.
Yeah.
When I was growing up, we wore our clothes backwards. It was a fad.
Crisscross stomach,
Make
yeah.
it jump.
Mac that or make yeah. Anyway,
Yeah, all of
but
that.
yeah,
Yes.
yeah. So that's another thing. So
colors and all of that stuff. Them loud colors, our baggy stuff, way beyond our size. You know. And my mother was always like, why you want to wear cartoon characters on your shirt? It was what we did.
Yeah, but back to what I was saying about the exercise in the summer. Try to exercise when it's not as hot. In the morning, early in the morning when it's cooler, and later in the evening when it's cooler. And if at all possible, avoid the extreme heats and exercise indoors if you have to, because before you know it, you can be dehydrated, and it's one of those things that is kind of hard to come back from if you're too far along, and it can be detrimental to your health. So
People can have heat strokes.
yes, that's another thing we want to be aware of is heat stroke, heat exhaustion, and heat stroke, and that has again to do with the amount of water that you have in your system. So you just want to make sure that you're definitely hydrating, that you're definitely taking care of yourself as far as the amount, the temperature, the heat, and being out in that heat. So some signs that you might be dehydrated or you might be getting some heat exhaustion.
You read my mind.
I know. I was looking at you. I was like,
See,
we,
the eye contact. I'm telling you, that's my sister.
we like this right
We
here.
like that.
Look, but yeah. Some signs that you may be dehydrated or that you may be getting exhausted from the heat if you're out working in the garden or if you're out just taking a walk and all of a sudden you just feel this heat come over you. You may be getting some heat exhaustion. Also, if your tongue is dry, if your mouth is dry, if you begin to have excessive thirst, by the time you're thirsty, you're pretty much dehydrated. If you are extreme, then you're going to start to get a little bit dizzy. You're going to start to feel like you're a little bit wobbly. You're going to feel nauseous. You might even have some visual changes. If you're older, if you have an elder parent that you take care of or an elder spouse, and they begin to just act in a way that they normally would never act, completely out of character. They're very mild-mannered, but all of a sudden they start cursing you out or cursing you or anything like that.
Heat
they
can
may
do all
be,
of that.
Well, that's the dehydration from the heat that I'm talking about. So those types of things. I went all the way medically to the left,
I'm telling you, listen,
but
let me cool you off.
What's wrong with Uncle Buddy?
But
He's hot. You understand? He's real hot.
But
He
yes,
bad.
yes, I'm being very serious. So if you see that in your elder adult or your elder loved one, just know that most likely they're dehydrated, and from that you could develop a urinary tract infection, and they'll just get all loopy and psychotic, and really all they need is some fluid.
Not a Snickers. They just needed some water.
Not a Snicker, just a little bit of water. So one
Get Pawpaw some water.
One last sign that I want to tell you that we don't pay a lot of attention to is that when we wake up in the morning and we wake up too quick and we turn our heads too quickly, or we get up off the bed too quickly and we feel dizzy, and we feel that feeling of the room is spinning. That's a sign that you may be dehydrated.
Well, see, you said two things when we get up early
It's like, that's not happening.
and move too quickly. No.
Not going down.
It's like, not at this stage. Not at this stage. We gonna rise slowly.
Right. You have to lay there for a minute. Open your eyes and thank God. You know what I'm saying? And while you're thanking Him, just stretch a little bit. You know what I'm saying? Move that knee. You know what I'm saying? You just don't jump up out the bed. You know what I'm saying? Right. If anybody ever tell you I jumped up and ran off the bed,
the lies
they lying. They lying. And the truth ain't coming behind nothing else they done said. All right. But you just got to take your time.
Yes.
Okay, to get up out the bed. But no, that makes sense though. If you get up and you're feeling a
Some
little
people
dizzy.
sweat at night.
Yeah, especially if you're in menopause.
Yeah. And so they could be becoming more dehydrated at night. So when they're popping up in the morning, that could definitely
Definitely. Yeah.
keep some water by the bed.
Keep some water by the bed, guys. Very important. Very, very
Well,
important.
actually, and you know, I do that.
I do too.
do keep water by the bed because sometimes when I wake up, I just need a quick drink.
You're parched, huh?
Yeah, exactly.
Do you snore?
I do.
Okay, yeah.
All in my
Getting all of your personal business. All in your sleep apnea business.
All in my business. I do have a CPAP. You see,
All
I
in
do
your
have a
sleep.
CPAP.
Look, all in your sleep apnea
Right,
business.
Exactly.
I mean, you said you woke up thirsty, so I was like, my
I
brother
do.
needs some water. Okay. A lot of people who snore, do they not?
Yeah. There's a chance you have sleep
Yeah,
apnea.
they're going to wake up thirsty.
Yeah.
Yeah, I have my CPAP and everything. Whenever I take my mask off and drink my water and put it back on, go back to sleep. That's what I do. All right. I want to breathe.
Amen. Amen. Thank God for the CPAP.
Thank God.
Yes.
Thank
It
God.
saved many lives.
But keep the water by your bed.
Yes, I do keep the water by my bed. So now, in terms of just healthy tips for the summer, does it differ between adults and children?
Yes, it does differ. Mainly because children are very resilient. They're very, they can pop back. They can do the heat longer than someone who's a little bit older. But you really do want to keep the same principles. Make sure they're hydrated. Make sure you're hydrated. Make sure your elder loved one is hydrated. But since you brought up kids, I do want to talk about some of the dangers and health tips for them, as far as being around pools,
In summer camps.
stagnant water at a park, things like that. So we want to make sure that the kids are either you have someone there or you're there with them that can swim. That if something happens, they get in that water. If they ingest too much chlorine, that you know what numbers to call, of course, poison control and whatnot. And make sure when they're laying out there, because sometimes they'll lay right there on the ground and in the heat, and make sure that they're hydrated as well. So as far as the pool is concerned, just make sure everybody can swim, that your loved one is skilled in that way, and that you have, if it's at your home, that you have a fence around, your pool and whatnot, so no one's getting in there who can't swim. And
I was thinking,
can
and the
drown.
reason why I said kids, because I started thinking in terms of just the same exact thing in terms of kids being at the pool. Yeah, I remember growing up, they would say, don't eat or drink and then get in the water because you catch cramps and you can die. So it's like,
Yeah.
I never understood that either.
I never understood that exactly either. The catch a cramp and die, but maybe catch a cramp, you can't swim, you kind of, you stuck,
Right.
possibly, and then you drown.
I'm trying to figure out,
Right.
how do you catch a cramp 30 minutes after you eat?
well, see, that's
Well,
but they would say.
That's what they did. They said you need to
Exactly.
wait.
Yeah.
Exactly. But hearing
know
that,
that there's any
all of
science
the stuff that you're draining, your
Just because you're in the water doesn't
Right.
mean anything. You are
Exactly.
working out. You are
Yes.
still, that's exertion in that water. That you guys remember how exhausted you were after the pool? Being in the pool? Yeah,
Yes.
it's a lot of work. It's
and
exercise.
I remember catching a cramp from time to time in the water, and now it makes sense in terms of just, losing, sweating and just becoming dehydrated, not realizing that you were dehydrated at that time and catching a
And you're
cramp in the
working out
water.
and not stretching before you get in the pool. As you're walking through the pool, as you're trying to tread the water, depend how far you in there, you working out.
All those things.
Yeah.
Yeah, and another thing we want to consider with children and with us as well, when we're out here at these events and picnics, and we're out here eating this food, and the mayonnaise has been sitting out, and the potato salad is out, and the meat is not quite cooked from the grill, and baby girl didn't wash her hands and went to the bathroom.
You're going to the wrong cookout. That's all.
I'm gonna eat before I leave home.
Look, you're going to that cookout with them raisins in the potato salad. Those cookouts you're going to.
Ooh, we do not like those raisins in the potato salad.
You got to go to the right cookout.
That's true. That's true.
But
But
that's extra stuff in my mac and cheese.
Right.
Don't do it.
but I said all that to say, when we're out here at these gatherings and we're at the barbecue and whatnot, we definitely want to make sure we're handling the food safely. We want to make sure we're not cross-contaminating from raw food to hot food, from the chicken to the vegetables, from the bathroom to the food, all of those things. We have to wash our hands constantly.
Right.
So that's
And not
that's
just
a
hand
major thing.
sanitizer. You gotta
Not
wash.
just soap and water.
Wash. Wash them hands. But the other thing, I remember years ago, my mother's secretary went on a cruise ship and got deathly ill.
Oh wow! What happened?
Mayonnaise, the stuff had set out. And that's the thing that they ended up telling her, that's what it was. The mayonnaise had spoiled sitting out in the sun because I guess the cooling tray had malfunctioned and the food wasn't as cool as it was supposed to be or whatever. And they had several people on the ship that had gotten sick. And ever since then, I've always had the mindset of paying attention to eating potato salad or something that's mayonnaise based that's been sitting out. And that's something that most people don't think about. And they're not in tune to that and don't really understand why there's ice under that mayonnaise based
Or heating up stuff that has mayonnaise in it and then eating it.
Yeah. Even with that being said, even though it's sitting on the ice, y'all, it's probably not at the temperature that it needs to be at. So if you can avoid it altogether, you might as well just avoid it altogether.
Yeah, and see, that's
You
what I
will live
don't-
without the potato salad.
You can live without
Right.
it. And the
Yeah.
coleslaw.
Yeah.
And the what?
And the coleslaw.
Oh, yes, indeed.
But they got those little coleslaw pops now. Have y'all seen those things?
No.
Have not.
Oh, they look terrible. I wouldn't eat them. But, they're they're talking about people making coleslaw pops. It's the best thing for the picnic. Not my
No,
picnic.
no.
Once again, they got raisins in the potato salad at the
Does
picnic.
it have bacon wrapped around it?
No,
Then
not at
it's
all.
not for us.
Nope, not at all.
I have not heard of the coleslaw pops. I've heard of cake pops.
No, they got these coleslaw pops.
That's just not
Ugh,
right.
that's
It doesn't even
just-
seem like it
ugh.
should stick together.
Right. And what is it? What's the
Is
base
it wrapped
of
in
it?
seaweed?
It's just a frozen coleslaw pop.
Frozen.
Hold on, I'm going to find a picture for you.
Okay,
Just-
find a picture.
Y'all talk amongst yourselves for me.
But definitely being careful about what you consume and then how long you're keeping the food and how long it's been out. And then I'm one of those people, I really don't like to eat outside. I like my stuff to be covered.
It is an
Oh,
abomination.
wow. He just showed me the picture, y'all. It looks crazy. It looks like an ice cube, but it's coleslaw underneath.
Yes.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, I told you. See, I just want y'all to
Interesting.
know. Y'all better be careful accepting invitations to everybody's cookout. That's all I'm going to say. Raisins and potato salad and coleslaw pops. That's all I'm going to say.
It's a hard no for me.
Yeah, it's a hard no for me, too. For sure.
This is my final answer.
Yeah.
Final answer. I don't really like, and I really don't like to eat a lot of places, and I really don't like to eat a lot of people's food because I'm very concerned about how it's prepared in general, not just in the summer, but any time of the year.
Yep.
And especially like potlucks and whatnot, you don't know who did what and why they did it,
Right.
and what type of pet they had when they created that meal and that dish. So,
Yeah, that's huge. That is huge. So the main thing about that is just kind of stay away from those mayonnaise-based products. Also, make sure the meat is cooked thoroughly, and make sure that you are definitely not using the same cutting board for your meat that you use for your salad and vegetables. And wash your hands with soap and water. If you don't have soap and water, then, hand sanitizer is acceptable, but soap and water is best. As it relates to that. Definitely.
Now, what about some of these festivals? Because I know that you see a lot of these festivals out
or these
there.
food trucks.
Yeah.
Yeah, and that is. I would assume that the food trucks they may have a better sanitation process than just some of the festivals. Right. Yes, exactly. And so when you see some of these festivals and you see everybody out there cooking and frying and, I just had a moment. Thought a little fried Oreo, but we ain't going to talk about that because Dr. B going to look at me like, you eat fried Oreo?
Listen, I eat them too.
Okay,
I
good,
eat them too at the festival.
I don't like them.
Yes.
No.
Listen.
Oh, what about
It's
a
too
fried
much
peanut
sugar.
butter and jelly sandwich?
Never had that. Fried peanut butter and jelly, but I do like peanut butter and jelly, so I could imagine that might be righteous.
It is.
It is.
Where can I find that?
I'll make you one day.
Amen. Amen for the good sister.
But
I'll report
these
back.
festivals, that's another issue also. However, they're not that awful because they're regulated. They're regulated. And the inspectors come out
Right.
and they check the temperatures. They check to make sure their hand washing is appropriate, and they're doing all the things that they need to be doing. Now, my thing is, if you're out here at one of these festivals, the deep fried, greasy stuff is probably going to be your safest because the heat done killed everything.
So that's what she's promoting.
Yeah, I'm not promoting it, y'all. I'm
She's
just
like,
saying.
if you
I'm
must
just
eat
saying, if you
something.
must, yeah. Those,
Let it be fried.
Because you go to the festival, you have to get your fried Oreos and a good old turkey leg. That's
and
what
a turkey leg,
See?
right?
That's some good eat. Who's having a festival this weekend? Call me.
I'm sure there's someone somewhere this time of year having some type of festival.
Yeah.
Fried turkey legs. Good to know. Good to know indeed. So, Dr. J,
Yes.
what is maybe another tip that you would share for women specifically? Because I know you do a lot of work with women and their health and things that they need to know and be aware of. You said summer and things changing. I'm thinking about people who are going through menopause and what are some tips for those who are dealing with these times?
Okay. I'm glad you asked that. So when we talk about the heat and when we talk about dehydration in the summer, really at any time, for women especially who are experiencing menopause or who are dehydrated, you definitely want to drink more water and hydrate more. And I say that because we don't think about vaginal dryness. We don't think about the dryness of our eyes, our mouth, all of those things that happen with menopause and with the lack of estrogen. So you want to be sure that you are taking in more water because everything needs to be
I
lubricated.
haven't
as
hit that
far
yet, but I
as-
had not heard that.
Yeah.
So I'm glad you shared that.
Yeah.
That your eyes,
Oh yeah. Your eyes,
your vagina. What else
your
is drying up?
vagina. Well, your skin.
Your skin?
You know, listen, estrogen is the female elixir of all. So
Get the water,
you know,
ladies. Get the water.
yeah, get the water, the water, the moisturizers, the lubricants, all the things. But for sure, for those of us who are experiencing menopause, perimenopause, in the summer when you're going through a hot flash or you're again you're sweating more, then I do suggest that you have cool water with you. Carry a canteen or freeze your water in the morning so that it can help you cool off. Another thing you want to stay away from is hot beverages because that will throw you into having some type of menopause, hot flash. So stay away from your spicy
Starbucks.
foods.
Your Starbucks coffees, unless they're iced, you're saying. So all the coffees, hot
I'm gonna
teas
say-
and things. Hot, yeah.
I'm going to say no to the coffee altogether and the sugar too, because those I know, because that is something that contributes to a hot flash.
See, you too can be on the bad
chocolate.
list.
I'm not there yet. And may the good Lord keep me from there. I'm not trying to hit there anytime soon, Father God. Try nothing.
Yeah.
But I do believe in education. I think when we are prepared, we are able to handle things much better. So if you're not there in the moment, I still say take in the information, because one day, Lord willing, you will be there. So it's good to know that women definitely need even more water as you're going through that stage in your life. So that I didn't even know those aspects dry out because of estrogen or a lack of estrogen. Didn't even know that had anything to do with estrogen, your eyes and your skin and all those things. So that's good information.
Yeah, and you also there's a lot of things that I can talk about there, but I won't go there. I'll come back later for a menopause or perimenopause conversation. But as far as the water and staying hydrated, definitely you're going to need more. Just know that not just your vagina and your mouth, your ears, your eyes, all that. Your joints.
She added ears.
Your joints, your organs, you get lubricated by the water that we drink. So water is life. It's essential. It's everything. So, yeah, you want to stay hydrated. Look, you should see their faces.
Look, like, we take things seriously here at the Sunday Brunch table. We are educators at heart. We take things seriously here at the Sunday Brunch table. We receive the information and we internalize it immediately.
Right, exactly.
We apply it immediately. We're like, say what?
Right. Can I mention one other thing?
Absolutely.
As it pertains to women, because I'm just going to speak from a woman's standpoint because I'm a woman. But there's times that we in the summer we find that we're trying to get that beach body and we're trying to drop weight fast. If you want to contribute to that, then your water contributes to that. Water, lemon water, lime water, that adds to the flushing out the toxins, getting that fat that you've broken down out of your system and moving. So if you're interested in that, then you should be drinking at least 2 glasses of water before you eat anything. You should be drinking a glass of water before you get in the shower. You should be drinking a glass of water after a workout, before a workout, during a workout. You should be drinking. So if you're looking to lose weight, water is key. You can't do it without drinking water.
Water before the shower.
Yeah.
Talk about that. Is that just the timing, or because you're taking in water through your skin while you're in the shower?
Well, yeah. So that's about timing. It's about that heat that's again dehydrating you, and and of course you're washing things off, the protectant off your skin. There's a lot that's going on there. So definitely water before a shower.
Never heard that.
Yeah.
That's why you're here.
Exactly. And that's the plus. When we have these conversations, it's stuff that is certain that's beneficial, but it's like now you know and now you understand certain things instead of just doing them because someone else has always done this or told you to do this or whatever. But gaining that understanding and getting that personal knowledge as to why you are actually doing certain things or should be doing certain things. So no, this is
it
good.
It creates a good buy-in. I'm one of those people that I'm a why girl. I like to know why things are done a certain way before. I don't just go along to get along, and so it's good to know why you're doing something that has a purpose. So okay, let's drink more water. I love water anyway, but now let me think about when I'm drinking the water. Let me be more purposeful about my timing.
I got it. I got it to a science. Drink water, take a shower, lose weight. That's what I heard.
Drink water, take a shower, and lose weight. Okay.
Yeah. So as you can. Yes.
And I know why you said before you eat, because I've heard that before. A lot of times people are not really in tune with their feelings of being full or satiated. And so drinking the water allows you to take up some of that space that you would be trying to shove food in.
Not only does it take up space, it expands your intestines. And in your intestines, you have receptors that tell you whether you're done eating or whether you're not. And so when it expands and fills up, your brain thinks, oh, I'm done, I'm full. So if you're trying to lose weight in the summer, trying to get that summer beach body, then you drink the water 2 glasses before any meal. You wait 25 minutes, and then you see if that hunger sensation goes away. If the hunger sensation goes away, don't eat. Just He said,
Don't eat right then.
Don't
Keep going.
Don't eat right then.
And then drink some more water.
I have to put some water in my eyes because if I see food, I'm gonna eat it.
You're going to plug up your nose too. You know, there's some people, when they smell it, they have to eat it. When they smell good food, they're like, it draws them to that. Or, you know, they hear about somebody meeting to eat, they feel like now they need to go and eat. So a lot of it is about that self-control and giving yourself that space and time to make a conscious decision as to whether or not you want to engage in this activity of stuffing your face.
Exactly.
Because if I smell good food, I want to. Where is that coming from? You know, we just came back from New Orleans, and I'll tell you.
Yes.
You
don't go there to lose weight or to drink water
Pray my
2
strength.
hours,
Pray my
25
strength.
minutes before you eat. You don't go there to do that. You want to take in all of that good food.
And I did.
Hey.
When I tell you I did. The food in
Etouffee,
New Orleans.
the jambalaya, the crawfish.
The gumbo.
The gumbo.
The gumbo.
The gumbo.
Yeah, I just came back from Essence Festival, y'all.
Yeah.
And when I say that there was a lot of people on that ground, on the side, on the bench, on the almost passed out, looking like I was
They
going to
got
have
the
to
drink
do some work.
packages.
I have to do some work. Like I was like, oh Lord, they need some water. They need water. But let me tell you, that
They were
heat,
not drinking water and it was hot out there.
well, I know they was drinking something.
Yeah.
But that heat with alcohol and you're not drinking, y'all got to be careful out there.
Yes.
Yeah.
And
Definitely
especially as
so.
you get older too.
Yeah.
I can imagine, like you were saying, younger kids recuperate a little quicker. They can be on little football teams and be out there practicing a little bit longer than some of the older ones and whatnot. So I can imagine that you saw those people lined up.
And before we wrap it completely up, I just want to say that I know we got some time, but I just want to mention too that when you are out there in the heat, make sure you're out there at the pool or the lake or wherever you are, make sure you're putting on insect repellent because of the mosquitoes. They carry some deadly stuff out there, and you definitely want to make sure that you're protecting yourself and your family. If you're camping out there, you want that DEET spray on so that you're repelling ticks and stuff like that, because you don't want to get Lyme's disease or anything like that if you can avoid it.
You see more of that coming in during the summertime?
I do. During the summer months, because people like to get out there. They like to say, oh, I'm going to hike this trail. And lo
That's
and
not
behold.
my ministry. I ain't lose anything out there, and I ain't looking for it either.
Oh, God. My sister got that look on her face. Oh, that's not me. You don't have to worry about me catching any of that.
Listen, if they told you they found me out there, somebody took me out there. I did not go of my own volition. Camping, I do not. I had one bad experience and I learned. I'm not one of those people that you got to try again. No. It's not for me, but it is for some people. And so they need to be protected while they're out there. The first mosquito bite, it's a wrap.
Well, I do know there are some people, and I guess, was it the pheromones in your system that will attract bugs sometimes more so than, because I know that.
Have sugar in their blood.
Right. Some people can be sitting, right there and never get bitten. Like it's rare for me never to get bitten by mosquitoes or anything like that or whatever. My wife.
They don't bite you?
No, not really. I'll go out here today and get bit by 5.
Right.
But I usually don't get. Yeah, I usually don't end up with mosquito bites. My wife is the one who gets there, and of course she says she has a sweet meat and I'm sour. So they don't mess. Mosquitoes don't mess with Sour Patch Kids, so that's what she called me.
Not no sugar in their thing.
Exactly. So she always tell me they leave me alone because of that. But I do know it's because of the pheromones sometimes, because bugs are attracted to certain pheromones, I guess. In terms of people when they sweat and stuff like that or whatever, they're constantly bothered by mosquitoes and flies and stuff like that or whatever.
That could be something. You might have something there. So I don't know that you can do anything with your pheromones, Doc.
Other than and that's what.
people.
Well, no. Well, I think
and insects.
Right, but I guess that's why it's important for people if you recognize the fact that mosquitoes are attracted to you, it makes sense that you are constantly putting on the bug spray and stuff like that, insect repellent. I don't want to say bug spray, have someone go ahead and can of Raid.
Do not put Raid on your skin.
Right. But get the the insect repellent, because
Definitely.
of course, like you said, it can create problems.
There are some people who are severely allergic to mosquito bites. I had a
Definitely.
nephew, and he would swell up if he was bit, and it was terrible. You're like, this cannot be normal. This is not natural. But he has severe reactions to mosquito bites. So do protect yourself out there. And you were saying earlier about water. You were going to go back to like standing water or anything that you can.
Yeah. So when I said I was going to go back to water, being the number one thing in the heat in the summer, I was talking about drinking water. I was talking about being hydrated. And oftentimes people do not like water. And so just to understand that you can also eat your water. You can also eat your fruits that have a lot of water, your melons.
Okay, because my mind immediately went to ice cubes. I went to ice cubes. He said, eat the water. Eat the water. I'm thinking ice cubes.
I drink water, but I was like, I was like, it's in something. Like, what do you wrap it in? Did you go ahead and take it down real quick? We're visual people here too. Even though they can't see us, we can see each other.
I went immediately to ice cubes. That's all I can think of. See, somebody had the bright idea about them coleslaw pops. You know what I'm saying? So somebody missed the message. See, and I'd have been the one. You want some what?
You want to eat some ice? You want to eat some water?
I mean, if you are, if you have a problem with drinking water, then, like I said, cucumbers are very, very high in water. So that's a source. Watermelon, cantaloupe, pineapple, infusing your water with lime, with lemon. So those are some things that you can do to help you drink water. Mint leaves in your water, ginger in your water. So
that sounds good to me.
Yeah. So you definitely want to, in the summer, like you said, you don't eat heavy, which is exactly how you should not be eating heavy in the summer. It's just too much work. Your body's already trying to work too hard as it is. So the salads, the smoothies that have the fruit and the extra water, the ice chips, all that. So that's what I was pertaining to for people. There are some people who just are adamant about water, drinking water, won't drink water. So those are some of the tips that you can use to get more water in.
But they need the water. And so it's good to, sometimes you don't like what you have to do. It doesn't mean that you won't do it. So sometimes you just got to do certain things. So water is not one of those things that you can leave out.
Nope.
Because it's impacting too many aspects of your body.
Too many aspects. It's life, like I said.
Water is life.
Yeah, but you mentioned standing water. And I do know that with standing water, you have to be careful because of mosquitoes laying eggs in standing water and stuff like that or whatever. So if you're out there getting your patio and stuff like that ready for your cookout, make sure you dump all of those, the standing water from the flower pots, paying attention to the flower beds and all or whatever. Because, one year I actually put azaleas around the house. And I had to pull them up like after 2 years because I found out that the azaleas pull moisture in, and that causes mosquitoes to want to lay their eggs in the areas of azaleas. Yeah.
Oh, azaleas
I
got
did
to
not
go.
know that. They got to go.
Yes.
If they bring in mosquitoes, they got to
They
go.
definitely have to go. Yeah.
Yeah. So I moved the azaleas to the outside. Instead of closer to the house, I moved them to the outer.
They bite everybody but you.
Yeah. Send them over to the neighbors. I hope y'all not listening to this today. Send them over to the neighbors.
They keep them from off your yard.
But yeah, I found that out. I was in the garden shop and I was looking for some other stuff, and that's what the guy at the garden shop informed me of the situation there in reference to the mosquitoes because of the level of moisture that azaleas pull in and require over in that particular area. And I said, oh, okay,
that's some good
explains it.
science right there. Yeah.
Yeah, so didn't understand that. So that's once upon a time, a lifetime ago, when I used to be in the yard.
You don't get to do that anymore.
No, I don't get a chance to be in the yard. But so much now. Not say so much. It's like never.
Never. Go ahead and go tell the truth. Shout out to my yard guy. I so appreciate the way that you come through every 2 weeks.
Hey, listen. It was a time when that's what I lived for. Getting up on Saturday morning, I would start out like 7:30, 8 o'clock. I would pull weeds from the flower bed because I didn't want to start my lawnmower too early and wake my neighbors up, So I would do little things around the yard first, and then, give my neighbors a chance to wake up by 9:30, and then get out there and cut the grass and all. And so, but I don't have a chance to do that anymore. It's just so much stuff going on and so many different things to do. And
time is money, and so I mean, that's a part of us growing and evolving. You have to realize you don't have to be a part of every aspect.
Right.
You don't have to have your hands in everything. So some things you got to let go.
Yeah, exactly. And so I'm very thankful. I guess I got a very good yard person who takes great care of the yard for us and all. And so shout out to Titan Lawn Care. Doing an excellent job.
Indeed.
One other thing too, well, maybe two other things about the summer and your health and when you're out here. I was just remembering how I took care of someone who came in with a severe rash, really, really bad rash. Well, if you're outside and you're entertaining on your deck like you normally do, and you're making any type of margaritas or you're using any type of lime or lime juice, if it gets on your skin and the sun gets it and you get burned, it will make a severe rash on your skin that can be a little bit deadly. Lime juice.
Limes are deadly.
Yes.
Did you hear what she said?
I did not say.
She said a little bit. A little bit is too close to
the lime
all the way.
Lord have mercy.
I didn't even know that.
The lime gonna kill you.
If you get it on your skin,
Yes.
you can consume it though.
You can consume it, but just be sure. You guys just take a look at it, look it up. But yeah, it's one of those freak things that sometimes your provider won't know.
Yeah.
But just so you know, if you're out here and you're out here and you get those, what are those things called? Those beers, those Coronas that have the lime in there, and then you are sitting out long and you develop a rash. It could be because some lime juice hit you, and you develop a rash from that.
And no other citrus fruits or anything, just lime.
It's just the lime. It's something in the lime. Yeah. And while I talk about that, I'm just going to roll into the fact that some of our medications that we take and some of our meds that we consume, when we have too much exposure to the sun, it can cause some rashes, and it can cause some eyesight issues. And so we want to make sure that we know which medications that will cause a problem with that when you go out in the sun. Doxycycline is definitely one of them.
What would they take that for? What would someone usually take that medicine
Oh, it's for infections. All types of infections. Vaginal infections. Look, I'm sorry.
She's
STDs. Listen. I mean,
the STD queen.
I'm about to drive.
Listen. I'm a woman.
Yeah.
I am a woman. I think about women. I think about what women have to go through. And sometimes we get with these janky men, and something happens. Need a little doxycycline to get it right. And you go out in the sun, and all of a sudden you got this horrible rash.
You cannot be a hot girl in a hot girl summer.
With a rash.
With a rash. In this heat, y'all. In this heat, Lord have mercy.
I understand exactly what you're saying. Yes, ma'am.
Yes, and Well, as we
you can
speak,
do that.
don't laugh. As we speak about the women too,
The men
make
too.
sure. Well, let's just talk about women in here. But as you're wearing these thong bathing suits. That thong, that string. It's really a tightrope for the bacteria to go from your
Vagina
anus,
to your
anus to your vagina.
Indeed.
Dr. B just gonna
Look.
cancel summer altogether. Stay in the house.
Just dress appropriately and drink water.
breathable clothing, and
Yes.
you
Without
guys
the strings.
without the string. You guys are perplexed as to why these things happen to you, and I'm just saying we have to be careful.
Sharing is caring.
Sharing is
Cancel
caring.
summer, drink water, take showers, and lose weight. I got the message for today. I got the message. But no, you've offered up some great information because, like I said, we recognize these things happen sometimes, but really don't understand why they happen. And sometimes, even though people may have gone through these things, they just take the medication or they just go get treated, but they don't have the understanding. So I definitely and we laugh about some of this stuff or whatever, but in all seriousness, it's information that people need to hear to gain an understanding, because when we don't know what it is that we don't know, we're destined to repeat the same mistakes. So,
And when we know better, we do better.
Exactly.
Or at least we should.
Some of us do.
Or at least we should. But at least you have what's necessary to do better when you have the information.
Exactly.
Yeah.
True.
Exactly.
So we thank you
You're
Yes.
for this good information,
Yes.
this bad information, and this indifferent information. The good, the bad, and the indifferent. It's been a good time of
Yes,
Sunday
it
Brunch.
has. Yes, it has. Well, I am Dr. Richard Mason.
And I'm Dr. Tamara Williams.
And thank you for joining us right here on Smooth 88.1.
WHOV, the essence of HU.
Keep your fork.
Someday we'll be able to measure the power of words. I think they are things. I think they get on the walls. They get in your wallpaper. They get in your rugs, in your upholstery, in your clothes, and finally into you.
Thank you for joining us at the table.
Tune in next Sunday at 1 p.m. for more delicious topical recipes for life on the Sunday Brunch.
On Smooth 88.1 WHOV.